Just saw my homegirl Nikki from South London lost her son, man. Our young generation is clearly lost, man. Clearly lost, man. Like, I don't even know what to say no more, man. Like, you youngsters just going around, just busting guns in crowds, kids getting killed, and it's clearly the generation after us, man, that's so lost, man. Man, I came back to Houston and the nigga told me, yeah, Floyd, that young nigga the truth, man, right there, because he could bust a gun. Man, I knew it was crazy then. A nigga my age saying this here, man. You know what I'm saying? And condoning this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like half them young niggas shooting them guns go home and they knees shaking at night. But they don't show it to nobody because, they ain't tough then. Hey, man, come on home, man. One day it's gonna be you and God. You going up or you going down. You know what I'm saying?
All of us at Basketball Only would like to take a moment of silence for George Floyd and all those who have succumbed to unnecessary violence and injustice.
Welcome to the Basketball Only podcast. We come to you in a somber occasion. We are all thinking of the death of George Floyd, and that's where we're gonna start the show. We're gonna talk about the links and the connections there are to the basketball world, but we are not gonna confine ourselves just to that. We're gonna have an open conversation of this matter that's ailing all of us and it's affecting us at this moment. I'm your host, Alejandro MC. As always, we have the whole team here: Just Heck, E-Legend, Daniel Badu. Our man Ryan wasn't able to be with us today. So as I mentioned, guys, I wanted to start talking about the death of George Floyd. I mean, for those of you who may not know, which might be surprising at this point, but on May 25th, an unarmed black man was killed by a police officer. The police officer was responding to a call that said that a man supposedly fitting the description of George Floyd had used a $20 counterfeit bill at a store. There is video of how George Floyd was killed. He was beat up by the police, and then while he was handcuffed on the floor, there's the officer Derek Chauvin put his neck, had his weight on his throat for a length of 8 minutes, and you could hear the cries of help by George Floyd, saying that he couldn't breathe, and and saying they were gonna kill him. And indeed, this is what happened when the EMTs, the medical personnel arrived on the scene. The description says that they found a person that was dead, a person that did not have a pulse, a pulseless man, to quote them. And this video has impacted us all. It has led to many protests across the country, some of them peaceful, some of them violent, even rioting is going on. And we have heard also different comments from public figures, from our president to our NBA athletes, expressing their point of view on the situation. So that's the recap of the situation. The question I want to pose to you guys, first and foremost, is how did you find out of the death of George Floyd, and what was your first reaction? If you want to go ahead, E-Legend.
Um, well, I believe it was if I'm correct, it was Monday, right? Did that happen on Monday? Or
Yeah.
So
was
yeah,
it Monday?
think
Okay,
so.
so
Yeah.
you know, just regularly like going through my timeline on IG, I seen somebody else had got killed by a police officer. And I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like didn't even pay that much attention to it because it's kind of sad, but I'm kind of used to this. Like it seems like so normal that
Oh, I had the same reaction, but go ahead. Yeah.
like
Yeah, well,
somebody
desensitized by
yeah
it.
somebody of of black descent is getting killed by the police. So I kind of was like, to be honest, I didn't even pay it that much thought as much as I probably would have or should have been because we just had the thing that just happened in with Amadou over there in Georgia. So I'm like Aubrey in Georgia. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It seems like it happened so much that I kind of like skipped over it and was like, okay, maybe I'll watch it later. Not even really paying it no mind. And then little by little during the day, I would go back to IG and I would see more pieces and all this stuff. And then I was like, damn. And then my wife brought it to me. And she was like, yeah, you heard about so and so, which was George Floyd. And I was like, yeah, I heard about it. She was like, there's a video for it. I was like, okay, well, let's watch it. And I literally lied in the bed with my wife, and we watched the video for about, I think it was about 9 to 10 minute video of an officer kneeling on a human being's neck. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then, excuse my language, but it just shocked me. And I was like, wow, like, and I hear the people recording it pleading for the officers to get off this man. And then you hear him saying, my body's hurting. Please, I can't breathe. Could you get off me? It's just like, the more you watch it, the more teary-eyed I get, the more upset I get, the more my wife is upset. And it's just like frustrating to like it's like you're watching you're watching something you can't control, and you start to realize like you can't even help. Like you watching something you can't help, or you can't decide to ask what's gonna happen. And it's like, damn, like maybe I should turn this off, but like part of me was like, no, maybe he's gonna let's do this. Keep watching it, and you realize like he passed away. You look at the guy that got his neck, got his neck with his knee and his hand in his pocket, is looking like the happiest guy in the world, with like a demented, evil look, and you're like, damn, like is this the life we really live? Like it's just a sad situation. And from that time forward, I made it my job to like post stuff and to, put stuff out there just to, I'm not out there protesting anything, but I just need to do something. I couldn't just sit here and act like this is not existing as I did prior to what I did early in the day. Watching that video right there traumatized me. I'll never forget that video day in my life. And I talked to my daughters about it and everything. Like this thing right here is very serious. And I know I've seen people die on camera before and murders, but something about this video just made it so sinister when you could see cops just standing around letting this happen while they being told by other pedestrians and citizens that this guy is dying. And when that's happening, they just sitting there and allow it to go on. It's probably the worst video I've ever seen in my life. And it's tough, but it was a sad day Monday, for sure.
Word. How about you, Daniel? When do you see? How do you first learned of the death of George Floyd? How and what was your first reaction?
Mine was kind of similar to E-Legend. I kind of, you come across that stuff on social media. So I saw a post about it. And honestly, I watched like, I want to say less than 10 seconds of it, maybe even 5. And I just shook my head and I kept scrolling because it's like, man, they're doing this again, I didn't think he was killing. I thought he was putting his, knee on him or something like that and, trying to control him or something. But I didn't want to watch anymore because I'm like, man, that's crazy. Scroll past it. Next thing I know, I come back to my phone. It's everywhere. It's on the shade room. And I watch it again and I'm like, oh my God, like there's no empathy. Like E-Legend said, like he's putting his knee on the neck of a human being. You know what I'm saying? You're watching like a modern day lynching, so to say. And this guy is pleading for his life. He's saying, please, I can't breathe. I think the toughest part for me was when he called out for his mom, who also passed away. I think they said 2 years earlier, this man's calling out for his mom. He's saying, please, the people around him are begging. It's like this guy had no empathy. You know what I'm saying? And it was just horrible. It was a nightmare. It's one of the worst things I ever saw. And then to see the cops around, you know, one got his hand in his pocket, literally looking at the sky, looking around, just not caring. It was just weird, man. It was disgusting. It was inhumane. And then again, like E Legend said, we had just seen this in Georgia, you know, where they shot the young man that was running, who was jogging, and you know, they approached him, and then now we get this. Like, man, like, and you know, E Legend mentioned talking to his daughter. You know, I have 2 daughters, and I gotta one day explain to them, you know, the hate in the world and why this happens and what's going on in the history beyond what they teach in school. So it's just disgusting, man. I was definitely upset. I'm still upset. You know, I've been, you know, putting stuff out there that I see maybe that could shed a little light or, you know, information and stuff like that. But it's just inhumane, man.
Yeah, no, it totally is. I mean, it's funny that you guys, you know, we talk about the children, and I mean, I learned pretty much how everybody else learned about it. But it's funny that, you know, and really, this is a lesson that probably E Legend has already started to transition to. But for you, Dan, you know, your children are still babies in a sense, and you know, children don't see color. You see children play together and they're just like, oh yeah, come on, you're my best friend. They just met. You're my best friend, and we're gonna go up the slide. And there's no, oh, I can't hang out with you because you're Chinese or you're Spanish or you're Indian or whatever. It's just, come on, kick the ball, play tag. You can't catch me. Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? And then
That's how I grew up.
right, and then to have to teach your children that the world's gonna hate you at some point because of your ethnicity or your skin color or you know what I mean, or your name, or it's a very weird, it's one of those things. It's just like, man, like that definitely is not in the parenthood book, but it's like, you know, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy lesson to have to teach. And you know, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, no, and it must be one of the hardest things. And I'm not a parent, and I can see that. Sorry, guys, I caught up from the air. My phone got hit with an Amber Alert about
mine too.
Yeah,
you guys got it?
Yeah, I just got it too.
Yeah,
11 o'clock curfew.
Yeah, I see it now. Yep.
Yeah.
11 to 5 a.m.
To show the immediacy and of what's happening and the extent of it, right? So I couldn't hear your answer completely, Daniel, because you kind of messed up with the phone conference. But going off what Heck was saying, you were speaking about your children, and this situation, huh?
Yeah, I was just saying that it's tough that one day I'm gonna have to, because E Legend said that he had to talk to, you know, his family, his daughters about it, and it made me think like, man, you know, because even yesterday I was thinking, I even told my lady that, damn, one day we're gonna have to explain to them why a person might hate you. Like Hector said, I grew up where I played basketball with some Indian kids, you know. I didn't care who came to the court. If you was white, yellow,
you play.
black, I was coming at you. Like
I grew up.
I grew up watching Jordan, so I took on that mentality of I want to take on anybody. And I became friends with them. I didn't look at color or anything. I actually learned from cultures like that. So to see like that level of hate, and now to have to find ways of like how I'm going to explain this to my daughters, it's disgusting, you know? And I just want to say one thing. I don't know if you guys seen the documentary on Netflix, LA 1992.
Oh, the Rodney
King. The riots. I seen it.
Yeah, I just watched it. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. And the one thing I couldn't get over is like, man, you know, it's like this country was masking itself for like the last 28 years. Because from that, we were supposed to get better. It was supposed to be a little more equal. You know, we're supposed to put that in the past. And you're looking at what's happening. It's the same ish. You know, it's the same stuff. Yeah. And I'm just like, man. So you mask it for as long as you can. And it comes out, you know, kill this person, kill that person. And now it's like 1992 all over again, except it's more global. So it's sad to see that you think you're making progress just to go right back 28 years or even 400 years. And
it even goes deeper than that.
It goes deeper than that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the whole I was brought to light today that and I kind of knew the Black Wall Street, how we used to have it, and how the whites was the one that protested, and they
Yeah.
destroyed everything. They
Mhm.
destroyed all the black people's businesses and
Yeah.
banks and all that. They
Hmm.
destroyed it, and I think that's from like I don't even want to remember the date because I don't want to give the wrong information, but y'all can look it up. Basically, the Black
Yeah.
Wall Street riots and how white people did this to us. So I don't want to hear about people saying, "Oh, they destroying, they looting, and all that." I understand there is bad people out there that has bad intentions, but a lot of it comes from anger and depression and hurt from the years of this happening to us. So when people want to say, "Oh, blacks and Hispanics and people who are just looting and doing all this crazy stuff," whites have done this to us back in the day. So it's not a one-way street. Protest is not a one-way street. It's not just black folk. This happens all the time. So I don't want people to think that, oh, we're just always the ones to get angry and mad. No, we've been through the most, you know what I'm saying? And more so blacks than Hispanics, you know what I'm saying, in this country. But it happens a lot. So I don't want people to just think that this is just especially young kids. I don't want them to think that this is just regular. Because from what I know, like in the last 5 to 6 years, there's been more riots and protests than it's been in my whole lifetime. And it
Mm.
just shows you that this young group of people are more into getting stuff right and not settling for less than what it is. And that's the only thing I appreciate about what's going on is that it seems like this younger group of people that's coming up under us is more woke, to not use to the term. You know what I'm saying? They're more about
Mm.
having a better country than people that I grew up with. To
Mhm.
be honest with
It's the intense coverage too. I mean, you go back to
you. Yeah,
1992. I remember I was a kid. I remember the Rodney King riots, and
yeah,
um, you could only really catch it on TV. So you had to wait until
yeah.
like 6 o'clock and then 7 o'clock,
Yeah, it's
or
true.
you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, so
There's
on
no
and so
social
forth.
media.
Right. But now, fast forward to
Yeah,
people with camera phones and all this stuff. So now you get in-depth looks at everything that's
yeah.
going on. And I
Mhm.
mean, it's crazy. I saw the protests on Saturday. I was out with family, and what I first saw was a young couple. They're on the side of a building. They're coming up. So we're coming up from Avenue D in the Lower East Side, and we're walking up because we're trying to get to this place to order some food to take back to my mother-in-law's house. And I see a young couple, and this young girl's crying. This young woman's crying, and she's like, "I can't take this. I can't take this." And I look, and she's got a Black Lives Matter uh, poster, and I'm like, "Oh snap!" Like, okay, it's like one thing was like looking at it, but like this is real right now. And then so we buy the food and everything, and then like we as I'm coming up across 14th Street by like 14th and I forget where, but it's like by Union Square, but down more like where Stuyvesant Town is. Um,
Okay.
we're coming across and you see the bands, the people marching, and they're like Black Lives Matter, and they're doing the chant, and I'm just like, wow, like this is crazy, like, and it's like it's just another thing to just add on to everything else that's been going on,
Right.
and it's crazy that it takes the death of someone to be the spark. It's like this, it, it's weird that we have to say Black Lives Matter. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. And then when people debate it,
Well,
it's like you have to give them statistics. It's like, yes, all lives matter, sure, but when you say
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter, it's not just saying only Black Lives Matter. We're saying that
yeah,
people need to take into account that Black people or people with darker skin pigmentation, like they should be treated the same way as another person would be treated in a situation, whether the situation's a criminal situation or not. Like, because had George Floyd been a white guy, This might have been, they might have just gave him a slap on the back. Okay, yeah, don't worry about it. Things happen all the time, you know? And it's, you know, and I'm pretty sure we've all had our own brushes with racism to know that these things are true and that these things are real. And hey, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that we have to, you know, it's things that should be common sense are like no longer common. It's, you know, it just leaves me at a loss. Like I've been stuck for like the last 3 days. I'm just like, dude, like, where is 2020 going? Like, you know, it's just.
And this has been a hard year. And I feel the NBA community, if you want to talk about the NBA community, has been devastated by this year. Because you're talking about the death of Stern, Kobe Bryant. Now you have the COVID-19 ending the season, and now we see a connection between this death and the twin, who was called the twin of this guy,
Steven Jackson,
ex-player, Steven Jackson, who you see at a rally in Minnesota, along with Jamie Foxx, Karl Anthony Towns. Shout out to Karl Anthony Towns, who lost his mother not so long ago, on May 19th, I think it was, very recently, and he still stood there, still stood there to make sure as a franchise player for the NBA team, for that state, for that city, saying, I stand behind. And when you see that it hits home so strongly, it resonates even more. And that's one theme that hits so hard about this. You guys were mentioning how far back this goes, right? You could go as far as the beginning of slavery, or if you want to go all the way back to just the start of the Black Lives Matter movement with Trayvon Martin and seeing these deaths, and just the resemblance between this death and the death of the other gentleman here in New York. His name is escaping me. Eric Garner. Couldn't say he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. It's literally the same situation. So it hits home. I wanted to ask you guys about when these situations occur. Always the aftermath. We want justice, and it's like we all processing it differently, right? It's almost like that undying debate of whether it's the Malcolm way or the Martin way. Malcolm is more of by any means necessary, Malcolm X, right? Martin Luther King, no, it gotta be peaceful protests. As you guys see the different reactions taking place around the country, what do you think is the best path forward, if you think there is one specifically?
Elijah, you got it?
No, you go ahead.
I mean, for me, the government gotta show some kind of, they gotta come out and show some kind of change, like something in the law, you know, something that's handwritten, because like you said, you know, Malcolm X saw it one way, by any means necessary. Martin Luther King felt like it was peaceful. In the 2000s, Black Lives Matter. Like, they've taken every step to try to tolerate this and handle it in different ways with the marches and the riots. I think this generation, from what I'm seeing sitting back, is like, F all that. Like, we done did all that stuff with all these other leaders. It obviously still ain't working. It's 2020. We're doing this how we want to do it. And I mean, the thing that they should be scared of right now is if they have the nerve to say any of these guys are not guilty, then this is a warm-up. This is like the layup line.
Coordinated activity happening across this nation. And so we are in a state of emergency. Black people are dying in a state of emergency. We cannot look at this as an isolated incident. The reason why buildings are burning are not just for our brother George Floyd. They're burning down because people here in Minnesota are saying to people in New York, to people in California, to people in Memphis, to people all across this nation, enough is enough. And we are not responsible for the mental illness that has been inflicted upon our people by the American government, institutions, and those people who are in positions of power. And so young people are responding to that. They are enraged, and there's an easy way to stop it. Arrest the cops. Charge the cops. Charge all the cops. Not just some of them, not just here in Minneapolis. Charge them in every city across America where our people are being murdered. Charge them everywhere. That's the bottom line. Charge the cops. Do your job. Do what you say this country is supposed to be about, the land of the free for all. It has not been free for black people, and we are tired. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence from you. We learned violence from you. The violence was what we learned from you. So if you want us to do better, then damn it, you do better.